friends. Welcome back.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
You're just enthusiastic. You're like, good morning, we're here.
Oh, man.
I'm good. Today's a good day. So,
if you're brand new here, welcome. We are the Rustic Girls, and I am the mother of the mother-daughter duo.
and I am the daughter of the mother-daughter duo. I'm Katie, and this is Patty. And let us know how you guys are in the comments. We'd love to hear what's going on in your world.
So recently we talked about celebrating those that have gone before us, honoring them, but just choosing to take and use their birthday as an opportunity to celebrate them and
Tell
maybe
their stories
and introduce them to, a generation that may not know them or know them well.
On that, I mean, and I don't want to destroy train of thought, but one thing we did that I think has so much value that I almost think we didn't really touch on before was we brought in heirloom pieces.
Yes.
So there was things like my grandmother's Bible. Even I have from going on walks. She was always taking us on walks, and a bunch of mushrooms grew on trees that were like, they get big and they stick out. And she taught us that you can actually, if you draw gently on them, it'll like imprint and you can actually draw pictures on them. And I have one I found like that I had made. That's probably about 10, maybe 11. And it had survived somehow. I found it when I was like 17. And so I sealed it with epoxy. And I still have it. And so there's that. And I think there's one or two other things we showed.
Well, and you used her china.
We used her china. And it was an opportunity to actually talk about why those items matter. Because I think that that's another thing. When I pass on, I don't want my kids left with a pile of stuff. I mean, my grandmother, there's a lot of her stuff that it was just stuff. And probably a chunk of it wasn't just stuff.
Right.
It was something that had valued her. Even I found a trinket box of hers. I still have all of the, on myself, just my hand. The trinkets all together in the box. 90% of them I couldn't tell you what they are, but I recognize this as being her little treasure box. Her little things. There was like a prom ticket, a few others, amongst other stuff. And I think that it would be nice to know why these things matter and why I should treasure them. And so I think that has value. When you're doing that, I think if you have heirlooms, bring them into the story.
Oh, for sure.
To help them know not only who that person is, but why, connect the person
why they
to
matter,
the things.
right? Yeah, and when you do that year after year, it's going to cement. I feel like we've got more to talk about there. Yeah. But because there's so much you can do. Just give it some thought. But today we thought we would talk about the flip side of that. Kind of the flip side is celebrating those that are here, in the here and now. Life, can be busy, and I know I'm one of those people that have, I loved having birthday parties when I was a kid. And as I got older, birthdays just felt weird to me. And I don't want to be celebrated. I just let it pass.
It's just another day.
My husband and I have, some of our anniversaries we didn't go celebrate, whether it be a season when our kids were small, and we were just like, well, we can do it later.
Well, and on that, I think that's not necessarily a reflection of the love you have for the person or the relationship.
It's not.
Because we definitely grew up as being people that, a lot of the holidays, Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter and 4th of July, that we celebrate all those. But, not that we didn't do birthdays, because we did do birthdays. But, my mom was always of the, it's just another day, it's not a big deal. Valentine's Day was just a greeting card holiday. And so I don't think it was we don't love the person.
Right.
It was just not seeing the importance in celebrating people.
Right. And, I think even in as I reflect back now, right? The anniversaries that we We didn't celebrate per se.
Mm-hmm.
I think the, and we had an amazing marriage,
Mm-hmm.
but when you take time, that one day a year,
Mm-hmm.
to set aside, whether you have small children, whether it's you get the kids to bed and you set up a candlelight, picnic, have a picnic in your bedroom, shut the door and have a little picnic and celebrate,
Mm-hmm.
and use it as an opportunity to talk about how far you've come in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
Where you started, how far you come. Not just like, oh, we're going to go out to dinner for our anniversary, but I think it's a real opportunity to, it's kind of a, I don't want to say a yearly checkup, but it's a yearly opportunity, because sometimes, you can fall into ruts, you can fall into seasons of,
busyness,
kind of being in your own lanes,
Mm-hmm.
you can fall into seasons of, you know, rubbing each other the wrong way,
Yeah.
and forget, all the good stuff. And I think taking that time, every year, whatever form it comes, to celebrate your marriage. Your
Mm-hmm.
marriage is made another year. So
I think on that too, that there's a definite difference between acknowledging and really celebrating
mm-hmm.
and making the most of the moment. And so, even like you said, I mean, like, how many people for their anniversary just go out to dinner together, they do something nice or whatever, but or for a birthday, you do like the official thing, but we're not putting thought and
Mm-hmm.
intention into it. And I don't think that means that, because we talk about intentionality a lot, that means everything has to be hard or like overthought. But it just means like whatever we do, like let's have meaning, let's have purpose
Mm-hmm.
to it, that we don't just like exist. And so when you think about your anniversary, whether you are going out to dinner, something simple, whether
Mm-hmm.
you plan something small at home or if it's an elaborate trip, whatever level of thing that you're doing is like, why am I doing it? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, well, it's not just because this is a day we celebrate, but like, why? Like, this is a big deal. We made it, and we're talking about anniversaries right now. So it's like we made it another year when so many marriages fail. Let's talk about what's going right in our marriage, what's going wrong in our marriage. Let's celebrate the victories we've had in our marriage. So I think it's about making the most of the time, not specifically
Right.
how you spend the time.
Exactly. Because, I mean, we did many of we even took like anniversary trips.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun, and it was time away, and it was by ourselves.
And there's value to that.
And there's value to that. But I don't want to say checking the box, but you know what I mean? It's like you come home, you drop your bags, and back to life is normal.
Right. Was it just a vacation,
Was it,
or was
yeah,
it like
or was it
deepening the
really,
relationship?
yeah. So like you said, I think that the intention behind it, however you
How you
choose
spend the
to
time.
celebrate.
Yeah, wherever you're doing it, whatever you're doing, it's like just using it to acknowledge. And when we're talking about marriages, it's as much acknowledging what's going wrong as it is about what's going right. In some ways, it's checking in to see like what's been working, what's not, because that's what helps keep the marriage going. But I wouldn't say it's as much as it should be like a 60-40 or 70-30, because it's a big deal. And like celebrating the love that you have, celebrating the love that's created, your family or your home, whatever your life looks like. And not just because I feel like, it's a good time to check in about what's going wrong, but also it's that happens on a daily basis, what's going wrong. And so this is more like, this has been going wrong, how can we fix it? Because sometimes it's really hard to take that time in the day-to-day to be like, okay, we keep button heads over this issue, how do we fix this? Or this is consistently a problem for me that you do, how do we fix it? Those are good answers, and those are hard things to deal with in the moment. But
so that you don't carry that into
so you don't carry it into another year. But like, how often on a daily basis do we be like, my husband puts his dirty clothes in the hamper every day, like, do I celebrate that? No, it's just nice that it's done. And so I think it's the focus on the celebration side of things, like what's good, what has your spouse done right, what's wonderful about your love and your life, and building that, really joyfully celebrating all that's come from.
And I think that's a really good angle to come from, especially, if you have, I'm sure there's women this way too, but I think men get the rep for it of, not wanting to talk about their feelings or not wanting to talk about stuff. But you can, initiate it. You can open that conversation by just, we don't have to talk about our marriage, we're not opening it with that, but just opening it with, I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell you, in this past year, I've noticed, this and this, and focus on those positive things. And sometimes that's a great, that's a great strategy, if you will,
the launch
for any conversation.
For sure.
Is start with the positive, and then if the opportunity, but just to get that conversation going.
Right.
But with that, I think, we touched on birthdays and we touched on anniversaries, but I think, there's things to be celebrated on a daily basis, that I think, like you said, sometimes we gloss over. So, you can use that example of, my husband never, picks up his laundry. You can talk about it on your anniversary, hey babe,
sore point.
But, like you can also, when he does something, or when, he does something out of the ordinary and nice for you, or vice versa. I'm not assuming that there's no men watching, probably not, but you never know.
Or wives who need to apply it to themselves.
Yeah, or wives that need to apply it to themselves.
But that's something too, you can say, if you recognize something in yourself that you need to work on. This is like marriage advice, not on topic at all, but you see something in yourself that like, this is a sore point for my husband, I need to work on this. Set a goal for yourself, I hate cooking. It's not my forte. I don't like it. I love baking. I hate cooking. And it is a struggle, even though I'm a stay-at-home mom, to cook dinner every day. And there are times when I've done it every day of the week. I would say more regularly. I do it like 5 days a week. And then there are seasons where it's just like, there's a lot going on and less than this. Next thing you know, my husband's cooked almost every day that week. And it wears on him. Although he loves cooking, it wears on him coming home and cooking dinner. And so I'll set little goals for myself of like, I'm going to cook this week. And I'm going to do at least this number of days. At the end of the week, I'll be like, did you see how many days I cooked? Like, let's celebrate that. And so you can also do it yourself.
For sure. Yeah.
But anyway.
And then, as you touched on, I've never, Joe and I both were never about the greeting card holidays. I think as a woman, early in my marriage, it was a little bit of a sore point for me just because
what everybody else is
immaturity,
about.
Right? Like I didn't have the maturity to just say, you know what, this is how we roll. But yeah, you go to get your hair cut and they're like, oh,
what do you do for Valentine's Day?
Yeah, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? Or what did you get for this? And, but one of the things my husband liked to do is a random Tuesday, he would show up with flowers. A random Sunday afternoon, he'd, would have picked up something that I liked from the store. So, that's how I loved that because it was unexpected and it meant that
he was thinking
about me. It wasn't because somebody said, oh, don't forget guys, Valentine's is coming up. You got to get and then you get the obligatory and I'm not saying it's always obligatory because
you can be genuine with Valentine's Day.
But
the way we approached it was always, my dad always said that, he would buy his white flowers when he wanted to buy his white flowers, which was as much about him saying, you're not going to tell me what to do, as it was about, I want to show my life real love. It wasn't like, it was really like, you're just not going to tell me what to do, which led to him, but it wasn't an excuse not to do it.
No.
For him, it was like, I'm just going to do it whenever I feel like it, when the moment strikes. And I think
when the mood strikes, it was really sweet. He would come home and I used to say, what's this for? And he's like, because I love you. And, as the years wore on, it's like, really?
Do I need a reason to buy my wife flowers?
Do I need a reason? Do you have to ask? So I think we really covered the marital aspect.
Celebrating.
And birthdays, yeah.
And birthdays, I think it's the same. I mean, when we head into birthdays, there's a lot of similarities, but there's differences, So growing up, we did birthday parties in all of their forms. And then as adults, we met a friend who actually has a birthday month that she's done. I think it was like college. She said when she first, she had a friend who did it or whatever. And it's just like all month long, just like I want a coffee day. I'm going to get you coffee. It's my birthday, and I'm going to do this because it's my birthday month. And just made a bigger production about it. And I think that really was actually good for me because I was definitely falling into the habits you had from growing up, which was like, don't celebrate me. It's just a day. And it's no fun for the people who want to celebrate you. And so instead being like, it's like flip the switch. Now they're sick of it because you're always celebrating it. But, it was something that became more fun. And then with my kids, for me, we've introduced kind of the similar concept. We have certain traditions. So they get to go out to eat with one of the parents at a restaurant of their choice during their birthday month. And then they get to choose on their actual birthday, they get to choose what we have for dinner. And we do a little family celebration. And then there's a special plate and cup that comes out for their entire month that they get to use at the meals. So there's just little things that we have throughout the month. And so it really becomes, a much bigger celebration and acknowledgement of them being a part of our family and the joy that they bring to us and the joy that, the value they have in the world, which I think we need more of. I think there's too much of, it's like, I had a friend, an acquaintance, hard to call her friend, but an acquaintance who was very loud about how great she was and how much, her friend loved her and she loved her and they were such good friends and she was so cool. Like she just like so much bravado. And it at first it was very off-putting because I was like, this person's so arrogant. And then it was like, the more I saw it, I realized it was actually a cover for insecurity because she didn't feel confident in that relationship because she didn't feel beautiful and wonderful and all these things. And I think there's a lot of that in the world. I think too many people have grown up and they don't feel secure and they don't feel confident and they don't feel like they have something to bring to the world of value. And so we're going to scream from the rooftops how valuable we are and how special we are. But they don't believe it in their heart and their soul. And so I think that taking that month, especially when I'm not even going to say especially, as we're forming the next generation, there's so much value in that. But even with the people, your peers who are next to you, taking that time to really celebrate their existence, I think means so much.
Well, because two things I want to say is you don't know what's going on. That is a classic example right there. Is sometimes the people that either look the most like they have it together, or they overcome, or they sound, you don't know what's going on inside of them. And so I think if you're dear someone, and again, it always comes from a place of genuine, don't like make up a bunch of stuff just to stroke their ego and make them feel, but look, I mean, and if you're struggling to find something, take some time and observe and find something. Every single one of us brings something valuable to the world. And maybe you can be that person that helps them to find out what it is. But then also on that note, with the next generation, kids today are bombarded with negative messages, like never before.
Yeah.
That again, you don't know who's speaking into their life, telling them that they're worthless and incapable, and they shouldn't even be here. Those things happen, sadly. And so I think it's an even, not just for the parents raising kids, but for the grandparents and the aunts and uncles and anyone that's in their life, to help be louder than those voices that they might be hearing, through the internet or at school or.
Well, I watched a video the other day that was talking about the importance of aunties, that are younger, and they kind of bridge the gap for teenage girls because they start naturally pulling away from their mothers. But they're at this such a pivotal time, and they're so insecure that it's so important to have this auntie figure, whether blood or not, but that's like younger, that can, and so therefore viewed more as a peer, but not a peer.
Right.
That can speak into their lives and give them stability and kind of help guide them along, the path that they should be on.
They can go, that ain't cool.
Exactly.
Whereas mom would be like, you are not allowed to do that.
Exactly. They approach it from a little different angle, and they just receive it better than from their mothers. So I think that it's really important, especially as you got kids, when they're younger, it's so much of like the parents speaking into them and, their circle. But as they hit those teen years, it's really important. If you got, tweens and teens in your life, take the time to invest in them. Because what you say honestly has more impact than what the parents say.
Even if it seems like they're not listening, they are.
Yeah, it makes a difference. So anyway, celebrating.
Yeah, so
speaking into.
Yeah. And then there's the victories and the wins, of course, celebrating those. And it doesn't have to be, it's the attention behind it, and I think building little traditions too, can be, I know, like, when you were growing up, when you did your ballet recitals, you worked hard all year, did ballet, did your recital. We always went out for ice cream afterwards as a family, and sometimes the grandparents came, and so just little ways to celebrate your kids' accomplishments. I know with sports and all that sports wasn't a big part of our world, but showing up for your kids and celebrating, and it's, and even when they've had a bad day, celebrate what they are, that they've improved in this area, or I just think it's so lacking in our world, whether it be just busy, whether it be apathy, whether it be, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it's really lacking.
Insecurity of our own.
Insecurity of our own. You don't want to speak up
because I might seem stupid. I mean, especially when you think about like talking to a peer, talking to like other women my age, and I want to compliment them, and it's like, but like, what if they just think I'm weird? What if they, uncomfortable, or like instead of just being like, your hair is beautiful today, or that dress looks great on you, So I mean, there's a lot of different things to play into.
Yeah, and we're in this. Well, we're kind of in a weird age now because social media is kind of like, well, we're not going to really sure what's happening with it. But while we still have it, while we still have those platforms, those are opportunities. There's so much negativity that there's, opportunities to, and I think you need to be thoughtful how you do it and make sure you're not doing it from a place of trying to make yourself look
virtue
good.
signaling.
Yeah. But there's opportunities to kind of shout people out, whether it be, I've seen people post like, the family got together to bring in the hay or something, and they'll tag their family members and or the people that showed up to help. Thanks so much for helping. We got this done today. Y'all did a great job. I think there's just opportunities all around us, and don't forget the power of snail mail too, because I think everybody loves to get a little note in the mail.
Yeah, not a bill.
Says, hey, I was just thinking about you today, and I'm so happy you're in my life, and you mean XYZ to me.
I agree. I was thinking before we wrap up, something that might be kind of fun is to issue a challenge, but also to do the challenge live. Find one thing to celebrate. So like me find one thing to celebrate you, and we're gonna high five each other afterwards. So you got about 10 seconds to think, because that's about all I had.
Okay.
Of something that you've noticed recently that you want to celebrate about me, and vice versa. And we're going to high five. And then you guys, when you're done, are going to go find somebody and do the same challenge, because we also need to celebrate our little wins. So, I am really proud of you for how hard you've worked to not stay in a rut, but to move forward. Because you guys had the kind of love that you could have just melted down and died of a broken heart. But you intentionally didn't do that for the rest of us. And so I'm really proud of you because you haven't given up and you keep trying to just move forward and be healthy. Bye-bye.
Well, I'm really proud of you because when you decide that you have something that you want to accomplish, you don't allow other people's opinions to dissuade you, and I've seen your confidence in your abilities rise up, and you, however you have to do to get it done, you get it done and put it out there in the world. And I'm really proud of you that you, even though maybe you struggle with feeling discouraged, you keep putting it out there, and you have a lot to offer the world. And so, way to go. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
High five.
High five. So now it's your guys' turn. Go find a friend or your kid or your spouse and just say, let's find one thing we can celebrate. It could be something big, like we said, kind of broad. It could be something little, like just this morning, my husband, his hamper had been stolen by the kids for their laundry that they weren't putting away. And so he had laundry on the floor. And he's not great about putting it in the hamper anyway. But the excuse was because he didn't have a hamper, which is arguably a pretty good one. And he was so proud this morning to be like, babe, I cleaned up my stall of the bed. I put all my clothes in the hamper. And so it could be something simple like that. Like, high five, babe. You put all your clothes in the hamper. Or it could be something deeper. Mm-hmm. So find someone with something you want to celebrate with them and just take a moment to enjoy life. I mean, that's what it's about. Mm-hmm. Celebrating the wins, big or small, and loving the people around us.
And then if you'd love to, or if you would like to share, we would love to hear it in the comments.
Yes, please do. And if you have something you just accomplished that you would like to celebrate it, we want to celebrate with you. So put that in the comments. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week, and we hope you have a beautiful week.
Absolutely.
Bye, friends.